From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
We visit Stand Down, where thousands of veterans get access to service in Arizona on the same day that President Obama signed legislation to help veterans nationwide.
Foster care lawsuit. We hear from Valley families and their lawyers who say the state didn't do enough for foster children.
And our tiers could hold the key to diagnosing eye health disorders. Students at ASU are working with bioengineers to crack their complicated codes.
Cronkite News starts now.
And a battle for the future of Arizona's education is underway. Good evening, and I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Brittany Bade. The superintendent of public instruction fires back at Governor Doug Ducey after he says she is not allowed to dismiss members of the Board of Education. It's a war of the words, executive branch of Arizona style. Ducey says Superintendent Diane Douglas acted illegally when she dismissed 2 Board of Education members yesterday. However, Diane Douglas says she is within her right and in turn accused Governor Ducey of overstepping his authority. It's not even clear why State Superintendent Diane Douglas tried to fire 2 top administrators at the Board of Education, but experts say it's clear she can't.
That was not okay for her to do. It's a separation of powers issue, and it just indicates she's not clear on what her actual role is.
Douglas's staff released a fact sheet showing what they say proves the superintendent's right to fire executives. However, the text only specifies her power to direct and supervise department employees, nothing about the power to remove them.
The State Board of Education, of which the superintendent is only one member, is responsible for their own executive director. So a decision to fire the executive director would be made by the board as a whole and not by the state superintendent of schools.
After Governor Ducey's announcement this morning, Douglas claimed in a news release that he must think he is both governor and superintendent of schools. But according to one of Douglas's predecessors,
the fact that Governor Ducey stepped in means he's a grown-up, and it was so welcome.
In that press release, Diane Douglas also said Governor Ducey has not returned her phone calls. There has not yet been a response from the governor due to those claims.
Now, one of the points of contention in Arizona's education system is the future of Common Core. Many administrators, teachers, and parents are at odds over standardized testing and school requirements that are mandated by national policy. Cronkite News is reaching out to Arizonans on the Common Core debate through our Public Insight Network. Kylie Gumpert is live in our Cronkite Pin Bureau with what they are hearing from viewers like you. Kylie?
Here in the Pin Bureau, we put out queries on controversial topics. Dozens of Arizonans have already weighed in on Common Core. Some teachers, like Roberta Rose in Glendale, have embraced the new standards and are seeing improvements in student success, saying, "I've waited a long time to have math be taught in a way that builds understanding and not just shortcuts and processes that the student does not really understand." But Melissa Hackett, a teacher in Queen Creek, says that testing takes away a student's interest in learning, saying that, "I think a good teacher is always checking for understanding with her or his students and making sure to reteach what they need to know. The emphasis on tests takes the teaching moments out of teaching and just makes teachers teach to a test." If you'd like to share your thoughts on Common Core and the future of our state's education, you can find Cronkite Pin Bureau on Facebook, Twitter, and CronkiteNewsOnline.com. Live in Pin Bureau, this is Kylie Gumpert.
Last week, a federal class action lawsuit was filed against the state by 10 plaintiff children. Cronkite News reporter Angie Schuster spoke to a lawyer from one of the firms who is representing the children and 2 families who hope this lawsuit will change the system for better.
The lawsuit filed last week lays out 4 specific issues that these plaintiffs and others in the foster care system have experienced. One of these key issues is a shortage of and inability to access physical, mental, and behavioral health services. A new director takes over the Department of Child Safety and will face the lawsuit filed on behalf of some of the more than 16,000 foster children.
I've seen firsthand the tragic conditions that too many of our most vulnerable children have to suffer in.
Ann Ronan, a staff lawyer from one of the firms representing the plaintiffs, hopes that it will bring about change in the system.
But what we are hoping is that the system will be streamlined so that children, as soon as an issue is identified, can get the services that they need.
Foster families take in children from abusive situations, some with emotional problems of their own. Jennifer Garner stopped taking in foster children after taking in 2 of them and was not able to get them the help that they needed.
And we asked for therapy more than once, many, many times. And what we were told is that he was on a waiting list and that he was on the waiting list and there was nothing we could do.
Garner's case isn't unique. Cherie Clovitter experienced the failure to provide adequate mental and physical health care firsthand. She herself was a foster child and is now a foster mom trying to help the children in her care.
And she just suddenly began telling me this very explicit story about her birth mom and this man, you know, having sex. And this stuff is imprinted in her mind from when she was 2.
Clovitter says that little girl is struggling.
If we could go through, you know, some kind of therapeutic process with her, that she could be healing.
Cherie has adopted 6 children she fostered and has recently had luck with setting up psych evals for 2 of her current foster children. She hopes that the lawsuit will help create a better system so that her foster girls can get the help they need. Aside from the issue of inadequate mental, physical, and behavioral health care, the lawsuit also charges the state with having a shortage of family foster homes, failing to help families preserve relationships, and failing to investigate reports of a child abuse in the state foster care. Angie Schuster, Cronkite News.
Now, President Obama acknowledged that mental health can be just as difficult to overcome for a veteran as any physical injury. Cronkite News reporter Sarah Donnell is in Washington, D.C. with the details of the new Veteran Suicide Prevention Bill. Sarah?
Veterans are committing suicide at a staggering rate of 22 every day. And today, President Barack Obama signed a measure that aims to help reduce that number.
Makes it easier for veterans to find the care they need when they need it. And it includes strict accountability measures so we can track and continually improve these efforts as we learn more.
The act is named for Clay Hunt, a Marine veteran who committed suicide in March 2011 at age 28. U.S. Representative Kyrsten Sinema says the bill aims to help people like Daniel Summers, an Arizona veteran who took his own life in the summer of 2013.
I think it's important for folks in Arizona to know that the Clay Hunt Save Act was named after the tragedy that Clay endured, but it also is intended to help individuals like Daniel who felt that they had nowhere to turn. And we want veterans today who are struggling, as Daniel and Clay struggled in the past, to know that they have somewhere to turn.
Veteran suicides are no less of a problem in Arizona, where the 45 veteran suicides per 100,000 state residents in 2011 was the 9th highest rate in the nation. Live from Washington, D.C., I'm Sarah Donnell, Cronkite News.
This act will helpfully make people more aware of what a big problem suicide is among veterans and to provide those struggling with PTSD or other mental health issues the services that they need. And now back here in Arizona, Cronkite News reporter Sydney Schumann attended a huge event that's sole purpose is to provide mental health and other veteran services. Sydney?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The 14th annual Maricopa County Arizona Veterans Stand Down event is going on right now. It gathers dozens of resources for veterans to help with everything from homelessness to PTSD to even haircuts.
We like to say Stand Down is a hand up, not a handout, and it's a community coordination where we bring in over 70 service providers and sort of a one-stop shop for our veterans to sort of get the service, any services that they need.
It could be something like a basic need that they may need, maybe clothing, food, something like that, all the way through to housing.
In addition, there are representatives from the DMV, Social Security, 25 justice courts, mental health, medical, and dental professionals, and even barbers. There are also cots for those who are homeless, while volunteers assist them in finding housing.
You can move literally from homelessness to housing. What might take weeks and months to accomplish, they can get done in one day.
Cuban Missile Crisis veteran George Campbell came to Stand Down for legal advice. Like many veterans, he has had personal experience with suicide, exactly what President Barack Obama's Veteran Suicide Prevention Act is trying to put an end to.
I saw 2 guys in my outfit commit suicide, right? In my presence, right? And I think about that to this day. That was in 1963.
It is definitely an issue that we see with our veterans coming back, especially from Iraq and Afghanistan, and PTSD is something that definitely needs to be addressed, and as well as just depression in general.
Van Nimwegen is confident that the work she and her fellow 1,000 volunteers are doing will make a difference in veterans' lives.
The number of chronically homeless veterans is going down. We're really having an impact there. The people who are the most vulnerable with the most complex issues are finding housing.
Hundreds of people started lining up even last night to get services. The line was wrapped all around the building and the parking lot. They're expecting to help close to 2,000 people this year. Stand Down runs until Saturday afternoon at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix. I'm Sydney Schumann, Cronkite News.
Now, the issue of unlawful photos has been a hotbed of controversy and has impacted many. The Arizona House of Representatives is making an effort to protect those from having their dirty laundry aired out for the public to see.
Foundation movement.
Witnesses came and went.
We still have some issues to address, but this does solve
bills were heard and voted on.
Significant problems, and with that, I'll vote aye.
It took House Bill 2561 nearly 2 hours to be heard on the Judiciary Committee floor. The committee passed amendments to HB 2561, which deems it unlawful to distribute nude images of easily identifiable persons. State Representative J.D. Mesnard has been sponsoring the bill since its inception last year and believes these adjustments improve the bill.
They make it better. There was some concern that how we drafted it last year by referencing some things we weren't meaning to capture. I thought that was a valid point, so we went in and we identified specific provisions within those statutes, so it narrows it a little bit, tightens up the language.
Though not everyone is in support of this. The ACLU of Arizona was not available for comment, but have expressed their concerns about the bill in the past. The ACLU issued formal letters to the Arizona legislature with their feelings that the bill may infringe on First Amendment rights. While many have their own concerns about the bill, Representative Mesnard believes that protecting those from this ongoing issue is more important than simple wording.
More and more of these stories have been coming out, mostly from women, as you can imagine, who are grateful that there might be a tool, but if we don't find a way that this is going to continue this kind of behavior, and more women in particular are going to be hurt.
Now, all 6 members of the House Judiciary Committee approved the new amendments to House Bill 2561.
Former Arizona Congressman Rick Renzi is awaiting a federal court ruling on delaying the start of his prison sentence for corruption. A federal judge ordered Renzi to surrender this week, but he is seeking approval from the Court of Appeals to postpone his sentence while waiting for a U.S. Supreme Court ruling on his appeal. Renzi was convicted in 2013 of conspiring to use a land deal in his district to have a debt paid off to him. A beauty trend that some say is too dangerous for teens. We continue tracking how some lawmakers are looking to restrict teen use in tanning salons.
Having dry eyes can make it feel like someone's put sandpaper under your eyelids. ASU students are working to improve the diagnosis of eye disorders. Cronkite News reporter Casey Brecker takes a closer look at the collaboration between students and researchers.
As Arizona's springtime temperatures are beginning to heat up, you start to hear complaints of allergies and dry eyes. Well, now some ASU students and bioengineers are hoping to bring some relief.
We live in Arizona. People get dry eye very easily here.
Our arid climate makes Arizona the perfect place to research dry eye issues. Dr. Jeffrey LaBelle and his student researchers at the Biodesign Institute at ASU are hoping to change that with advanced tear diagnostics. Dr. LaBelle and his team are creating a device to quickly diagnose common eye infections and dry eye syndrome.
The work with ATD is focused right now just at the beginning stages, dry eye, and trying to make better assessments of dry eye conditions.
The team's main goal is to develop this device for ophthalmologists, allowing them to determine a patient's diagnosis in just 90 seconds. Student researcher Aaron Meidinger created the device that doctors could soon be using on patients.
This is our latest prototype, 3D printed prototype. And the device is designed to pinch nicely between these fingers and rest on the hand, and then the user would theoretically rest their own hand against the patient's face and then collect the sample from the eye.
There are two parts to this device. One contains electrons and the second contains a disposable test strip. The test strip contains a foam that quickly grabs the tear fluid from the patient's eye, and in just a matter of seconds, doctors will know the diagnosis.
One visit, like literally one visit, 5 seconds. They'll actually be helping more patients faster.
Dr. LaBelle and his team are still in the beginning phases of this new development, although they want to begin testing on patients as quickly as possible. Live in downtown Phoenix, I'm Casey Brecker, Cronkite News.
Although that bronzed beach look may be popular among teenagers, one bill may ban them from the tanning bed. Cronkite News reporter Anjali Meehan looked into a House bill that could restrict minors from visiting the local tanning bed altogether.
Having sun-kissed skin was part of Victoria Johnson's job.
I was so happy. I was modeling and doing promotions.
She regularly used tanning beds to maintain her bronzed body, but something darker on her skin would change her life forever.
And I was actually at work at an event when my doctor called and let me know, hey, life changer, you have cancer.
At 23, a mole she had removed behind her left knee turned out to be melanoma. Her story is among many others that have inspired support for House Bill 2493. It would restrict minors from using tanning beds in tanning salons.
Children that use tanning beds have a 75% higher risk or chance of developing skin cancer later in life.
Representative Heather Carter says the cancer risks need to be taken into consideration.
For example, we don't allow minors to drink alcohol. We don't allow minors to use tobacco. This would fall in that same type of category because there is a public health concern.
Camelback tanning owner Stephen Fuller says there are already regulations in place for minors in tanning salons.
They must be accompanied by a parent and sign a waiver release, and the parent must be present when that waiver is signed.
He adds that there are benefits to indoor tanning.
For some people, acne and psoriasis, where a limited exposure to the sun and the vitamin D is actually a good thing for us. And once again, we promote responsible tanning.
Victoria wants minors to learn from her story.
I didn't think it was going to happen to me, and knowing what I know now, I would have lived my life completely different.
Shining light on a darker issue. Anjali Meehan, Cronkite News.
According to physician and Representative Eric Meyer, the Speaker has not yet assigned HB 2493 to a committee. Next week will be the last week to assign bills. 7 states already have laws that ban people under the age of 18 from using tanning beds, including California and Texas.
Higher prices and extended hours leave drivers a little nervous when they park downtown. See the new technology that Phoenix is implementing to make parking a little less stressful.
Parking meters in Phoenix just got easier, but it comes with a price. Cronkite News reporter Lauren Klenda caught up with officials touting the new app.
The app is called Pango. It's been implemented across the world, across the country, and now across Phoenix.
Pango is live on 1,300 smart meters across Phoenix, allowing people to feed the meter without physically going back to their car.
It's at its most simplest form. It is a third way to pay for parking. So you have coin, credit card, and now you can pay with your phone.
The app is free to download on smartphones and only takes the credit card, license plate number, and phone number to get started.
This is the next step in the evolution of the city of Phoenix becoming a smart city.
Signs are going up around the city detailing how to use the app. Stickers with the individual meter number will be placed on all meters, allowing users to connect with the correct parking space. The app will charge a 7-cent service fee to users, but came at no cost to the city.
Pango paid for the signs, Pango paid for the marketing, Pango paid for the setup. We've paid for everything for the city.
All you got to do is park, open that app, and hit the button, and go enjoy Phoenix.
The first 5,000 people to download the app will receive an hour of free parking. And for anyone who downloads through the end of February, $1 will be donated to benefit homeless veterans. Live in downtown Phoenix, Lauren Klenda, Cronkite News.
It has been beautiful outside today, and it looks like we'll have a warm weekend as well. Anjali Meehan has your weather report.
Yes, it was quite a breezy day today, and that breeze is going to go down going into Valentine's Day weekend. Down there in southern Arizona, those winds are expected to pick up as well. So watch out for any blowing dust in that area, Tucson and Casa Grande. Looking at our 5-day forecast, we can see that Valentine's Day on Saturday will be the warmest day of the week. and it'll be just 1 degree shy of the record for that day. And then we can also expect clouds going into Sunday and going into Monday. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Angela Meehan.
He's one of the greatest basketball players to compete for ASU, and now James Harden is being honored for all he did during his time playing in college. Cronkite News is proud to join the Arizona PBS News Block here on 8 HD.
Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on Arizona Horizon in PBS NewsHour.
Coming up after Cronkite News on Arizona Horizon, banner hospitals in the U of A healthcare system are merging, and a new memorial to a former governor will be dedicated on Statehood Day Saturday. That's next on Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour. When the frontiers of science hit home, Miles O'Brien reports on the latest robotic arms.
Next week, former ASU standout James Harden will become the 6th Sun Devil in history to have his jersey retired by the school. As Cronkite News reporter Rebecca Wynn found out, this will make him the youngest inductee in Arizona State basketball history.
Ball games before the All-Star break. Harden buries a three.
James Harden posted his 6th 40-point game of the season Tuesday against the Suns, continuing to build on an MVP resume that is almost as impressive as his beard. For Sun Devil fans, his legacy and his facial hair started growing back in 2007 when he arrived at ASU.
That was one of the things I had coming out, whether it's to go to a big-time school or go somewhere and pave my own way, leave my own legacy. And so, ASU, Herb Sendek, assistant coaches, teammates, they welcomed me right away, and I appreciate them for what they did for me, how they molded me, how they helped me, get to the position that I am now.
On Wednesday, James Harden will be returning here to Wells Fargo Arena to the sounds of the crowd cheering, accolades from his fellow players, and praise from Coach Herb Sendek. Noises he knows all too well. But instead of a game-winning three, this time it will be to watch his jersey be retired up into the rafters.
It's a tremendous thing. We're so proud of James. In a lot of ways, he remains the face of our program. He's so identifiable, and so many young people really look up to him and consider him to be their favorite player.
You see guys like James Harden so soon, after leaving, their departure from the school, of how well they're doing, it's real motivating, and, he left a huge legacy here.
James Harden led the Sun Devils to back-to-back 20-win seasons. In his final year, he led the Pac-10 in steals and scoring and was a consensus All-American. But after all the numbers Harden put up for Arizona State basketball, he will now forever be remembered by one, his jersey number 13. In Phoenix for Cronkite News, I'm Rebecca Wynn.
Arizona State will raise Harden's jersey to the rafters on Alumni Night, Wednesday, February 18th at Wells Fargo Arena. Fans in the student section will also receive a free cutout beard.
And that's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Find top Arizona stories anytime at Cronkite News Online.